If you thought animated movies were just for kids, think again. One of the most revolutionary animated films in years is dropping soon, and it's got some pretty big names backing it. In today's video, we're talking about Henry Selick's latest project, how he reunited a huge comedy duo, and what else should be on your animated watch list this year. First up, we have to talk about Wendell Wild. Wendell Wild is special for a bunch of reasons, and once you've heard all of them, there's no way you won't want to watch it right away. While we count down the days to its October 28th release, let's get into everything that's going to make this the release of the year. The movie centers around 13-year-old Kat Elliot, an orphan who finds an evil teddy bear and decides to use it in the same way anyone else would, that is, to communicate with two demons who say they can bring her dead parents back. On the other hand, the two demons, Wendell and Wild, want a way out of the underworld. Add a few quirky, interesting characters such as a nun voiced by Angela Bassett and a trans classmate voiced by Sam Zelaya, and you've got the start of an exciting horror comedy with some incredible animation. Keegan-Michael and Jordan Peele are the voice talents behind the actual demon pair at the center of the movie, and it's not hard to tell the dynamic is definitely still there. The movie opens with the two operating some kind of underworld machine, but anyone can tell the comedy we loved them for is exactly where we left it. The movie also thrives on Selick's signature stop-motion animation, and it has a bigger plot that sees some real estate villains wanting to turn Cat Town into a private prison. The movie premiered at the 2022 Toronto Film Festival, and so far the reviews have been amazing. Next, this is the iconic duo carrying the movie. Everyone remembers the hit Comedy Central show Key & Peele, hosted by the hilarious duo made up of Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael. The show sadly ended about 7 years ago after a successful run as one of the most memorable sketch shows on TV, and Key & Peele cemented themselves as some of the funniest guys in the industry. According to the actors, they added a fair bit of improv from their comedy days into the movie script, and it's part of what makes it so cheerful, even though it focuses on demons manipulating an orphan. Since Key & Peele ended in 2015, we've seen the duo do a lot more in the industry, which is actually the reason they ended the show. Peele has worked on his filmmaking career and given us hits like Get Out, Us, and the 2022 release Nope. Key has also been making a bigger name for himself with his acting career, whether it's film, TV, or Broadway. The world wanted them back, and they wanted it more since they insisted on being in the voice booth together for all their scenes. In fact, Selick even said there are about 3 comedy albums you can make out of just their studio outtakes. Plus, the movie tackles much bigger issues. We know the movie was made for middle school kids, but that doesn't mean it can't address the much bigger problems we have in the world right now. After all, you've got Jordan Peele behind it, and his movie Get Out was something that hadn't ever been seen before, with its majority black cast and a plotline heavily based in racial politics. Now, with Wendell and Wild, young kids have a chance to see themselves portrayed in the same quirky, dark style that Selick is so well known for, since Kat is the first stop-motion black protagonist since the PJs in 1999, which wasn't even a movie made for kids. The movie sees the protagonist dealing with the trauma of losing her parents in a car accident and then living through terrifying group homes and correctional facilities. Turns out the spooky signature Selick style is perfect for this because the issues being tackled are actually scary enough. The movie starts with Kat in handcuffs in the back of a van on the way to a program for troubled kids called Break the Cycle, and from that we already know the movie is going to target the prison industrial complex, and that's confirmed when we see the state of the town. A fire has burned down the brewery that supported the town, and now it's going to be made into a private prison. Lastly, fans are overjoyed to see the movie deal with animating traditionally black hairstyles, something that isn't really represented in media otherwise. Moving on, this is the legend behind the movie. Henry Selick has been a giant in stop-motion animated movies, and he's gained a dedicated fan base before this. After all, this is the man who brought us Coraline, the movie based on Neil Gaiman's bestseller, which was so revolutionary it grabbed itself an Oscar and BAFTA nomination. He also gave us The Nightmare Before Christmas, which tells the story of Jack Skellington and is a Halloween tradition almost everywhere. It's still iconic after all these years, and we have Selick to thank for that. In the 13-year gap between movies, he was working on something with Pixar, which took up millions of dollars before it was unexpectedly trashed by the studio for reasons we still don't know. All we do know is it kept us from seeing any Selick work for a while, and now he's back and better than ever. Wendell and Wild was adapted from an unpublished book written by Selick, and the movie is his first project since 2009. It looks like he spent all those years practicing because this is going to go down in history. The plot definitely looks like something Selick would direct, mostly because it's like nothing he's ever done. Finally, it wasn't an easy one to make. Part of the reason the movie breaks so many boundaries is Netflix gave Selick the freedom to do literally anything he wanted with the plot and animation. It's his genius that gave us movies like Coraline, so it's no wonder the streaming giant trusted him to make a huge hit. They also supported Selick through some big disasters like the wildfires in Oregon in 2020, where all the puppets made for the movie were almost burned down by the studio. As the director said, it would be impossible to rebuild the sets, but the puppets take so much effort and attention to detail that it'd be almost impossible to reproduce them. After that, COVID shut everything down, but thankfully Netflix was willing to fund everything, and even though we got the movie over a year late, they made it happen, and fans of the Legend's work can't wait to see it again after such a long hiatus. If you need something funny, adorable, and with a great story and stellar cast, this is definitely the one for you, and you can catch it in theaters or from the comfort of your bed on Netflix, making for the perfect Halloween watch. Up next, here are some other recommendations while you wait. First, we've got the best movies from Toronto International Film Festival 2022. The Toronto International Film Festival always shows some of the most significant movies of the year, being at the same level as Venice or Sundance in terms of prestige. And this year, along with Wendell Wild, we saw some amazing offerings, and we've rounded up the best ones for you right here. Other big titles at the Toronto International Film Festival were The Wonder, starring Florence Pugh as a nurse in the 1800s. Viola Davis stars in The Woman King, which follows a female warrior tribe, and also has Lashana Lynch as John Boyega. Next, if you were a fan of the hit series Squid Game, the Toronto International Film Festival hosted the premiere of Hunt, which is actually connected to Squid Game since it was directed by Lee Jung-jae and focuses on tensions between North and South Korea. Finally, one of the most anticipated films is the sequel to the hit Knives Out called Glass Onion, which is dropping on Netflix in December. Next, this festival is dedicated to animated gems. The 5th annual Animation and Film Festival is set to start at the end of October, just in time for the release of Wendell Wild, which will be opening the festival as well. The festival's aim is to remind everyone that animated films are just as good as live-action ones, and not just for kids. Other highlights from the festival include My Father's Dragon, Little Nicholas, Titina, and special screenings of Luck and Turning Red. Finally, we're not getting this sequel. Fans of The Nightmare Before Christmas have been waiting years for a sequel, but according to director Henry Selick, it's just not on the table. And the reason actually makes a lot of sense. The Selick and Tim Burton collab was all stop motion, which is clearly the director's strong suit, but if a sequel was made now, he says it would have to be computer generated, which he doesn't want to do since it takes away from the aesthetic of the original. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the Wendell Wild trailer? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.